What's going on? All right. I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible because I'm having power issues. Yesterday, I didn't go live at all because my power went out and it was out for about 18 hours. And I was getting ready to go live again and the power just went out and I just got back up. So I don't know how long the power is going to stay up. I really don't. So I'm going to try to go through this as quick as possible to get this information out there and share it with you. Thank you so much for joining in. While you're at it, please do me a favor. Hit that share button. Smash that share button. Smash it. Smash the share button. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's get right to it. So they're not happy. And we can always agree that if the left is not happy, then the rest of the world is. That's just the way it works, right? When those on the left are upset, they're disgusted about something, that means positive things are happening. That's what that means. So I don't know if you've heard yet, but they took a vote today and they actually voted Ilhan Omar off the island, the island man. They actually voted her out. She's no longer sitting on any committees, and they are mad about it. They're angry about it. So let me just get to this first one. Look at this one with Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib come out there, and if you ask me, Rashida Tlaib is like, she's on here crying. She deserved to be on the committee. And then she turns, and look at him. Am I doing good? Am I doing good? Then she turns back and, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. Wah, wah, wah. And then she turns back and go, am I doing good? Am I doing good? That's how I perceive all of this. It's nothing but show. It's nothing but a front. Listen to Rashida Tlaib.
You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Congressman Omar, I am so sorry,
has expired.
That our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong.
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
So they cut her mic off. I'm actually surprised that they cut her mic off, but it was all for show. That's all that was. It was 100% for show. She's up there with those crocodile tears. It's all fake, if you ask me. Again, she's, blah, blah, blah. And then she turned around. Am I doing good? Am I doing good? We have the people believe that I'm really crying. It's all fake. I don't believe it. It's all drama. Now, doesn't stop there. Look at this one with AOC. She's pretty much doing the same thing with her rehearsed crying here. She good and well that she rehearsed this in the mirror multiple times. Listen to this one. Watch this.
Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body.
She's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, which all the statements that they're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene said was before she was even in Congress. She had her opinion about stuff before. This was years before she was in Congress. But they went way, way back like they did Brett Kavanaugh to find something that she said that they don't like. But what we're talking about here is what Ilhan Omar said, why she's a congresswoman. Why she's a congresswoman.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
And then she slaps it like she did something. She slaps the podium like she did something. And you see Cori Bush back there behind her? Yeah. It's about people of color.
People of color. People of color. People of color.
Really?
People of color.
They resort to that every single time. It's always about racism. It has nothing to do with racism because it also, Adam Schiff, he's not on the committee. Eric Swalwell's not on the committee. AOC goes on the Communist News Network on Anderson Cooper and asks AOC was asked, well, how is it racist? And I was kind of surprised that the Communist News Network even brought this question up. How is it racist when it happened to Adam Schiff and Swalwell? How is it racist? How is it racist? But it's always racist. It's always racist. And then we have Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar's out here spilling it out, spilling the beans. I would not be silenced. I would not be silenced. You ever heard of Jeff Durham? You ever heard of him? He does the puppets. And he has I kill you. You know, he does the jokes, jalapeno on the stick. I kill you. But anyways, she said, I would not be silent. That's what she's saying. And she's basically talking about the rest of the world rallying behind her, right? The rest of the world's rallying behind her again with her anti-Semitic, racist remarks, as if that's what the world wants. But that's what the Bible says is going to happen in the last days too. Listen to what she says.
I didn't come to Congress to be silent. I came to Congress to be their voice. And my leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been. So take your vote or not.
It sounded like she started to say, take your vote and shove it. You hear that? That's what it sounded like she was getting ready to say to me.
So take your vote or not. I am here to stay, and I am here to be a voice against harms around the world and advocate for a better world. I yield back.
Really? She's advocating for a better world? What did she say about what happened on 9/11? You know, something happened. Some people did something. What did she say about that? What did she say with this whole anti-Semitic racist remark she said about the Israelis? What did she say about Israel? What did she say? Right? What did she say? She's 100% racist. And the Democrats know it. And the only reason why the Democrats made her apologize is because for some reason, the Jewish community still pours a lot of money into the Democrat Party, pouring a lot of money into the Democrat Party. That's the only reason why Nancy Pelosi says something about her saying her hateful remarks. Because of that. If the Jewish community was not pouring money into the Democrat Party, Nancy Pelosi would have never made her apologize. Because see, Ilhan Omar can go on there and she can say the worst despicable things about half the country. If you're a MAGA Republican, you can say the most despicable things you want. They're not going to make her apologize for it, right? Because Republicans, conservative Christians, true Christians are not pouring money into the Democrat Party. That's just the way it is. Oh, y'all see that? My lights. Okay, let me move. My lights just flickered. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. I don't know am I even still on here? I think so. Listen to this one with Karine Jean-Pierre. Listen what she says. How this is a disservice.
Look, the way that we see this, it's a political stunt, much like House Republicans' unjust removal of other leading Democrats from key committees in recent weeks, and it is a disservice to the American people.
Oh, it's a disservice now. Was it a disservice when Eric Swalwell was sleeping with a Chinese spy and the Democrats did nothing about it? Was that a disservice to the United States of America? I would say that it was. He had access to intel, highly classified information. Did Eric Swalwell pass any of that information on to her? Did he? Fang? Did he pass any information over to Fang? We don't know. He probably did. All these top security documents popping up everywhere. Who's to say he did not leak it? That was a disservice. They did a disservice to the American people. Was it not a disservice when Adam Pencilneck Schiff was lying to the American people, deliberately lying to the American people? Was that not a disservice? Does he not hold his position with any kind of credibility? I don't think so. It was a disservice to the American people. Well, look at this one. This is what McCarthy, and of course, you know, Ilhan Omar, this really. Listen to McCarthy here, because McCarthy addresses the whole issue about them being removed from the committee, and the media, they don't understand it. They don't get it. I don't understand how these people are supposed to be so pristine and how they're supposed to be journalists, and they're the elite groups in America. They're part of the elite groups, right? The mainstream media, but the mainstream media only fights and protects for the Democrat Party. When it comes to the actual truth and the actual facts, they don't care. They want to push the same agenda that the Democrats are pushing. Listen to this.
Yes. Democrats are arguing that the difference between last Congress when they voted those Republicans off committees and Omar during this vote is that there's a lack of accountability, because they say that you specifically have not condemned Marjorie Taylor Greene or Paul Gosar. What is your reaction to that?
They're totally wrong. I can't even believe you've asked that question. Think what you just asked, what they said, that somehow there's every single Democrat voted to remove Marjorie Greene on something she said before she ever came to Congress. So they wanted to override what the American people in her district decided. Then they removed Gosar from every single place. And what did we see when Congress reconvened right now? Gosar and AOC sitting together having a great conversation. Now they get upset. They want to fight really hard to keep a member.
Okay, let me stop it real quick. I'm sorry. But for those of you that don't remember who Gosar is the one that created that ad and, basically looked like it was attacking AOC. And AOC and both of them are sitting in the chambers, and they're like giggling, laughing with one another, having a good times. That's what he's referring to. And of course, they all bring that up because he's now on a committee and they're all upset. But AOC was like, chumming up with them. They know it's about politics, but the liberal media, they don't care. And listen to the reporters. The reporters don't care about the truth. He's laying out all of the facts here, the reason why they're not on the committee, and they don't want to hear it.
Of their conference who had a relationship with a Chinese spy on the Intel Committee. I can't believe you defend or even ask. I can't believe they would even defend that. Then they want to defend Schiff, who lied to the American public. Then they want to defend Omar. I'm not removing any of them from all committees like they did. They cheered when they did that. We simply looked at a foreign affairs of what the rest of the world looks like, where she sat and gave anti-Semitic comments. Even people in her own party said, I bet if Elliott was here today, the former chair, he would have voted with us. She said the American military was equal to Hamas and to Taliban, from a member of the Foreign Affairs. She said Americans only like Israel because it's all about the Benjamins. And 3 years later, she said, I didn't know there's a trope when it comes to referring to someone who's Jewish with money. She said on 9/11, as a member of Congress, as an individual who's sitting on Foreign Affairs, something happened that day. What does that say to other people around the world? What does that say to somebody else who wants to create another 9/11 America? I'm sorry. It's not right. We were right in our action, and she can serve on other committees. But it puts America in jeopardy, and I'm not going to do that under my watch. And it's fair in the process, unlike them.
They don't hear it. And I don't know if y'all can hear the press in the background trying to argue with him about it. And again, Ilhan Omar, Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, they did all this corruption and these racist remarks, racist rhetoric while they were in Congress. But the media, they can't register that. It doesn't register. It's almost like McCarthy talking to a bunch of children and he's telling the children the truth about what's going on, and it still doesn't register. They still can't grasp it. They still don't understand it. Why? Because they all have the same agenda. They all want to destroy this country, and they want this liberal stinking utopia. That's what it really comes down to. They want the sinfulness. They want the pervertedness. They want the demonicness. Everything that is evil under the sun. The left, the Democrats, these leftist progressives, that's what they want America to look like. They want to make America look like Sodom and Gomorrah, but on steroids. They wanted Sodom and Gomorrah look like they were just angels. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly what they're pushing for. To prove my point about the Democrats not respecting life, not respecting our God, they don't even want to acknowledge God. Just here recently, they had a hearing, and Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz is awesome. Matt Gaetz bring up a point, and see, I think a lot of people missed the bar on why Matt Gaetz did this. Matt Gaetz brought up the fact that they should be doing the Pledge of Allegiance before they start every meeting, which I completely agree with that. We're talking about Congress, the United States Congress, They should do Pledge of Allegiance every single time before they start their hearing. 30 seconds to set all their evil demonic differences aside and do the Pledge of Allegiance. But they can't do that. And you know why they can't do it? Because they don't want to utter the words, one nation under God. They don't want to say that. They don't want to say that. They want to remove God from everything. That's what it ultimately comes down to. Now, it has nothing to do with what happened on a certain day when they're trying to say that Republicans are insurrectionists. That's nothing to it. There's not a single Republican that I'm aware of that supported the takedown of the United States government. Not a single one. They know this. The rest of the world knows this. The Democrats all know this, but they still push that same rhetoric. Listen to this.
Mr. Gates is recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here on the august Judiciary Committee, we are charged with vindicating the constitutional rights of our fellow Americans, and our Pledge of Allegiance is a national symbol of pride and unity. And it was a great honor to be able to invite one of my constituents this morning to offer the Pledge of Allegiance. And so my amendment gives the committee the opportunity to begin each of its meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. It gives our members the ability to invite inspirational constituents to be able to share and lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. I offered this amendment to the Judiciary Rules 2 years ago, and it was defeated, and I'm very optimistic that we'll have a different outcome today. That's the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
So I'd like to offer an amendment to the amendment, adding in the second paragraph where the chair may designate an individual to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, to add the following language. Provided, however, the pledge shall not be led by an individual who supported an insurrection against the government of the United States in any way. Because I think if we adopt this amendment, then we will be truthful in representing that stating this pledge as an affirmation of your defense of democracy and the Constitution. It's hard to take that claim seriously if, in fact, an individual who in any way supported an insurrection against the government of the United States is allowed to lead the pledge. So I would ask Mr. Gates to accept this friendly amendment, and I look forward to supporting it.
Would the gentleman yield for
I first ask
question?
Mr. Gates if he'll support the amendment.
Okay, let me stop it real quick before you hear Mr. Gates come back into this, because it's pretty awesome, because Mr. Gates put him in his place. He actually does. But this is the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? I pledge allegiance of the flag of the United States of America to the republic. It doesn't say to the democracy. See, that's another thing. There's so many things in this that the Democrats hate. They hate they pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. They already hate that, right? Because, the Democrats, the left, they're okay with burning the American flag. They have no qualms about it. They're okay. They said, this is what we need to do is free speech because we're being oppressed by the flag. The United States of a flag, they call it a symbol of oppression. They've said it multiple times, okay? The second thing, and to the republic, not to the democracy. See, they hate that as well because we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And they know this, but they don't care. They go out there and they spill out the same nonsense over and over and over because they lie and get people to believe it. And to the republic for which it stands. What does the republic stand? A constitutional republic. What does it stand for? It stands for freedom for you and I. That Constitution, they hate it. I'm telling you, they hate it. And then the biggest thing out of all of this that they hate, one nation under God. During their DNC, their last DNC, actually the last two DNC, they admitted one nation under God. Did you know that? I'm sitting there watching the DNC. They removed one nation under God. When they did the Pledge of Allegiance, they removed it. And they don't want to hear because, see, they know that the Republicans will say one nation under God. The Democrats don't want to say it because the Democrats reject God and they want to remove God out of society. Matt Gaetz and the Republicans that did this, they knew exactly what was happening. And this was really awesome. It's really awesome. But the Democrats, they didn't want to say, this is what this is really about. And then, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Just the other day, you had Sheila Jackson say it was equality and justice for all. So Not only that, they want to take the Pledge of Allegiance and change what it says and even what it means for their own demonic, sinister means. The reason why the Democrats are arguing here is because they don't want to say one nation under God. They don't want to say it because the Democrat Party is the party of Satan. 100%. And you cannot be a true Christian and a Democrat. You can't do it. You're lying to yourself and saying if you can.
To make sure that someone who led an insurrection against the United States doesn't make a mockery of the Pledge of Allegiance and stand before this committee with their hand over their heart claiming to support the Constitution.
Mr. Cicilline, my concern would be if your definition of an insurrection is objecting to electors, then there would be many Democrats on the committee that wouldn't be eligible to lead the pledge since so many
That's
objected.
not my definition of an insurrection.
The last Republican president to get sworn in absent Democrat objectors was George Herbert Walker Bush.
Claiming my time, Mr. Gates, I will allow the chairman to determine whether or not someone has participated in insurrection in the United States. I think this language is important.
Would the gentleman further yield?
I'm asking Mr. Gates, will you now accept the amendment?
Well, I'm concerned that you may be disqualifying too many of your own members, Mr. Cicilline.
I'm not concerned about that at all. Then agree to the amendment. I'm talking about elected officials who swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States who in any way participated, supported, facilitated, encouraged the insurrection against the government of the United States. That's not too hard a standard.
So, wait a minute. Let's get this straight. The Democrats have all said that the U.S. Constitution is an out-of-date document. They disregard the Constitution when they want to eliminate the filibuster. Well, not actually. They want to eliminate the Constitution when it comes to the Electoral College. They want to eliminate the filibuster. They want to eliminate they want to do everything they can to undermine the American people by doing away with the Constitution. The Second Amendment is under attack. The First Amendment is under attack, and it's under attack by those on the left. So he can't sit there and say that Republicans don't respect the Constitution when the Democrats want to do away with it. Disgusting.
And if you are not prepared to agree that before you have the honor of leading the Pledge of Allegiance before this committee, at a bare minimum, you've demonstrated a commitment to protecting and securing our democracy, I can't support it. So, Mr. Gates, I know as a lover of the Constitution, you welcome this amendment.
A dear lover of it. Mr. Cicilline.
You hear that? If you're a lover of the Constitution. My thing is that let's just say someone was against the government and doing what this nut job is saying. Shouldn't you want them to say the Pledge of Allegiance? So maybe it would click in and they will understand. See, that's my thinking. Yes, this is a great idea for everyone that hate America, want to burn the flag. Well, let's get them to say the Pledge of Allegiance so that maybe this way they can be reminded what the Pledge of Allegiance represents, what the flag represents, what our constitutional republic really is. But they don't want to do that.
You've described the amendment in two different terms. The words have changed. Facilitate wasn't in your original description. It was in the second one. So if you'd like to write out your amendment pursuant to the order of the committee, we can all take a look at it.
I have it writing.
Matt Gaetz is really good. And see, they know that it would bring it to the forefront. Because people would pay attention when they're doing the Pledge of Allegiance. It would be on the camera. You'd be able to see it. And the Democrats, none of them would say the Pledge of Allegiance. None of them would say, or they'll probably be silent. They wouldn't do this. They wouldn't stand up. They'd probably take a knee while it's happening. Right? Matt Gaetz would have exposed all of it. But somehow, for some reason, I'm not sure how it took place because this is in the House. Jerry Nadler was able to do something to prevent it from even taking place. I don't understand how that took place. They should be saying it because they're supposed to represent all of us that put them there on Capitol Hill. That's what they're there for, to represent us. And I think it's a great example for them to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you disagree? Leave me a comment. No, Will, they shouldn't have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't like the Pledge of Allegiance. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment. I'd like to know. And tell me why. Why not? A lot of people reject God. And that's the main reason why they don't want to do it. Well, I got another one for you. This gentleman is out of the state of Florida, and he actually talks about the Pledge of Allegiance as well. Now, listen to what he says, because he's a black male. He's a black congressman. Listen to what he says about the United States American flag, about the Pledge of Allegiance. And the Democrats You think they're on board with him because he's a black man? Listen and find out.
Hey, Sergeant, thank you so much for your service. That gentleman right there represents the best of us all. And the fact that we're having a political conversation about this is actually wrong. The only thing that we want to do is recognize the best, those brave men and women that are willing to give their lives and a sacrifice for us to be able to convene the day in a room like this. I am one of those people. I served in combat. I'm a West Point graduate. I am the kind of person like that gentleman sitting right there that's willing to die for this country. For us to sit here together and to offer just a little bit of homage to those that are willing to do that, I think it's not nothing we shouldn't be doing. It's actually necessary. You see, that flag represents the deaths of thousands of men and women. 14 of them actually my West Point classmates. And every day that I get up, I look at that flag and I thank God that we are here. So the fact that we get to sit here together and have this conversation based on the sacrifice of that flag and the gentleman that came here and said today should speak volumes to how we should conduct ourselves moving forward in the future. Quite frankly, you are correct, sir. We should be saying the pledge every single day, every single morning, and every single committee. Because when I was in elementary school, that's what I did. And I worked my butt off to be sitting here right now in this room, and the least we can do is to pay homage to the sacrifice of those that have come before us to say, you know what, Democrat or Republican, we are in this together. That flag is the one thing that unites us. Let's just take 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds. I love this. I'm sorry I had to break it up one time. 30 seconds. Listen what he's saying. Everything he's saying makes complete sense. But it's a problem to those on the left.
To put all of our differences aside and say, we can agree that this country is wonderful, this country has done outstanding things, and that brave men and women were willing to die for it. And that's what sets us apart from every other country in the entire world. Every generation stands up to die and fight for that flag. The least we can do is say the Pledge of Allegiance. I yield back.
The least we can do. The least we can do. He's talking about 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. But see, they can't do that. They're so divisive. They're so hateful that they can't take 30 seconds to say, okay, you know what? He's right. Let's set all the differences aside. Let's just put them aside a second. And let's remember all of the people that bled, sweat, died so that they can sit there today. Every last one of them. Every last one of them should recognize the men and women that have died so that they can sit there. But they don't want to do that. The Democrats don't want to do that. You can't sit there and tell me that the Democrats are not rejecting God. You can't tell me that the Democrats don't reject our military, that the Democrats don't reject freedom, that they don't reject reality. You can't tell me when they constantly do it. Explain it to me then. Explain and make it make sense how they reject all of these things that is considered good and they support everything that's considered evil. Explain it. Explain it. You can't, because you look at it. I used to ask this question all the time when I first dawned on me. I had epiphany. And I thought about it. And I said, you know what? If the Antichrist, Satan, went to the DNC, the Democrat National Convention, and was saying, all the policies that the Antichrist and Satan wanted to do. Which policy, if any policy, you can think of that the Satan and the Antichrist could come up with that the Democrats would reject? Just one. I used to ask that all the time. And every now and then I ask a Democrat while I'm out in the street, just name one. There's not a single thing. They will stand up and applaud. Oh, my goodness, everything that they're saying is just wonderful. It's just wonderful. Because everything that is evil and demonic under the sun, they support it. Everything. I'm asking you. Leave me a comment. Tell me, what do you think? Name one thing that Satan would be like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And the Democrats would say, no, we're not going to do that. Name one. One. And see, a lot of people go, wow, dang, well, he might be onto something. Yeah, hello. That's how you know the difference between good and evil, because these people, they support everything that is demonic, everything, when it comes from our food source all the way up to our children. And everything in between is evil. They support it. All right, let me see. There's something I really want to share with you here. I have so much, and my energy, the power outage here, but okay. Where's it? Let me just get on with it. Okay, this one here. I started to just do this one, and I still might just do this as a separate video talking about this, and maybe I'll just take this segment out and share it again. But Kevin McCarthy, I looked at Kevin McCarthy, and I'm the first one to call him sometimes McCarthy. And I've said that multiple times. And people who watch my broadcast, you've heard me say that about McCarthy multiple times. Sometimes McCarthy. Sometimes he's Republican, and a lot of times he's Democrat. But here lately, I think McCarthy finally, he's like, you know what? They're right. I don't want to be considered a rhino. Could all this be for show? You know what? It's hard to believe. I mean, if so, he's putting on a really, really good show, because I like this showman, McCarthy. I like this version of him, because this version of him stands up and looks like a strong Republican. This is what Republicans should be. And it shouldn't be like Dan Crenshaw. They do videos and commercials and act like they're really strong, and then, they side with the Democrats 98% of the time. The only time he doesn't side with the Democrats, to where I understand it, is when it comes to the southern border. He actually sides with the Democrats when it comes to gun laws. Yeah, Dan Crenshaw. But anyways, Kevin McCarthy. Listen to what Kevin McCarthy says here. Because the Democrats, they had this whole campaign about removing all these statues that represented slavery. Y'all know what I'm talking about? They wanted to remove all these statues throughout the country because they said they represented slavery. But the thing is that they keep leaving out is that all these statues that supposedly represent slavery were all Democrats. They were all Democrats. A reporter's asking McCarthy about removing the statues, any remaining statues, because, when President Trump was in office, he made it a federal law for them to go tear down statues. But he's asking McCarthy to remove the statues that they don't like, the Democrat statues. Listen to what McCarthy says, because this is such a powerful clip. Oh, my goodness, this is so powerful. And the Democrats and these reporters, they can't hear it. It literally goes in one ear and out the other. If you can see the reporters, you can see it travel in and just go right out. There's nothing in between to stop it from sticking inside, because they don't understand it. They don't hear it. But I love what McCarthy says. He says that the Democrats they didn't even go further. They didn't go far enough when it comes to removing these Democrat statues. Listen to this.
Yes, sir. You've expressed some willingness in the past to work with Democrats to remove or replace some of the slaver art, like the depictions of slavers and Confederates here in the Capitol. As Speaker, you have a lot of power over the artwork that gets displayed in this building. Is that something you're thinking about?
Well, I remember.
Okay, I hope y'all can hear that, but the reporter is saying about removing slaver art, right? Statues, pictures, what have you. McCarthy lays it out. This is such a awesome response.
Remember when the Democrats brought up removing of a couple statues? I thought they should have gone further, because the interesting part is I think they should change the name of their own party, because when you think about it, every statue that came was voted on by a state legislature that was a Democrat majority.
See, this is what I constantly be saying. This is constantly what I've been saying. All of this stuff they're talking about, Okay, I'll shut up. Listen. Oh, it's so good.
Sent to Congress as a Democrat majority accepted it. There's not one Republican that you have to take down. There's not one Republican in the process. Remember how our party created. Our very first president was Abraham Lincoln. The greatest challenge ever to our Constitution was the Civil War. But I think if the Democrats are truthful about moving forward on what they want to remove, they should remove the name of their party as well, because that was the name that they provided and circled around and moved forward. So,
yeah, you know what? That's so true, right? And I've said it multiple times too. That's why it's like, man, this is so good. The Democrat Party has always been the party of slavery. It's still the same name. Why didn't they change the name of the Democrat Party? Like they changed Fort Bragg's, right? They want to change that name. Or the Indian Redskins, right? Right? The Chiefs. They attack these franchises, basketball teams, football teams, what have you, sports teams, military bases. They want to change the names because it was, and a lot of people that jump on board say, yeah, we need to change the name. They didn't even know it was connected or had any relation to a person back during that time when Democrats owned black people. Just imagine that. In this country, Democrats used to own black people like me, owned. And it was Democrats, the same Democrat Party then is the same Democrat Party today. And he's laying it out. And the same thing with Jim Crow. It was the Democrats against black people, always been. And it was Jim Crow laws that the Democrats put in place so black people would not get anywhere. Now listen to what he says.
Look, I'm very proud you come into my office. Joseph Rainey, first black American ever elected to Congress. He was a Republican. And I watched what the Democrats did by bringing us Jim Crow laws through the South, going after black Americans getting elected to Congress, holding us back so far. So, no, if I was a Democrat, I wouldn't be proud of their legacy. I wouldn't be proud of their history, and I'd want to change it.
And you know, he's sitting there saying this, and I bet you 99% of all of the press members standing right there in front of them consider themselves Democrats. And you know they want to go, well, the parties change. Well, the parties change. No, the parties did not change. If the parties changed, then why did the Democrats not change the party name? If the parties changed, they still got the same slave name that they had then. The Democrat Party is the slave name that owned black people. They were fighting for it. The war was against Democrats and Republicans. The Civil War was against them too. And of course, it was not over slavery. It wasn't, to be honest with you. Republicans didn't go to war because Democrats had black people as a slave. Just to be honest here, the history is what the history is. But as a result of the Civil War, the Democrats lost access to owning black people. That was one of the things that they lost. And now they try to turn around and say that, you know, the Republican Party, they're the party of racism. It's always been the Democrats. I'm so glad that McCarthy laid this out right before all of them. And the most interesting thing is they all heard him say it. They all heard him say it. And guess what? None of them are going to repeat anything that he said. Why? Because it doesn't fit their narrative. They want everyone to believe that white people in America always have been the ones that have been oppressing black people. But it's always been Democrats. See, not only do you get white Democrats oppressing black people, but you get black Democrats oppressing black people. And now they're talking about this whole thing out of Memphis with the 5 black cops. I wonder, I'm just out of curiosity. I wish someone would ask them, who did they vote for? I'm just asking the question. I don't know. Maybe they did vote for Trump. I still want to know. How come they don't ask that question? See, that's why they don't want me. That's why they don't want Real Johnson around, right? That's why they censor a lot of my stuff. Because I'm asking these questions. You know, that's a really good question. Who did they vote for? You know, just because they're a police officer doesn't mean that they're going to vote for Trump. Just because they're a police officer doesn't mean that they're going to stand up and do the right thing. Obviously not. Obviously not. We'd be naive to think that every single police officer, because they put on a uniform, they're going to do the right thing. Obviously not. Now, the majority of the police officers in the country, they do. They're all human. That's why I support the men and women in blue. You always have tyrants. And I'm just kind of curious. Someone please ask, how did they vote? I want to know. And if they vote Democrat, they would never let that information out. Because that's it. Again, you have white Democrats, you have black Democrats, you have Asian Democrats, you have Latino Democrats, all okay with suppressing other people. Because that's who they are. It really is. No secret about it. They don't even hide it any longer. They don't even hide it. All right. Let me play one more from McCarthy for you. And this is about those security, top highly classified docs that Biden had, right? And even Hunter Biden, where they're preventing the House committee, Congress, from having access to these docs, which they're not supposed to do that. It actually violates the Constitution. And like I said earlier, the Democrats, they don't care about the Constitution. Obviously, the DOJ and the FBI, they don't care about it either. But listen to what he says. A reporter asked a question, and listen what he says about those docs that they're being prevented from seeing.
With regard to classified documents, we've seen pressure in the Senate right now, threats to the Biden administration in order to get that briefing, specifically from Democrats and Republicans on the Senate Intel Committee. Does the House have its own plans to apply pressure on the Biden administration in order to get the briefing that Congress is required to?
I mean, this is, take away what we're talking about, but the House and Senate have a constitutional right to oversee this. These agencies do not have a right to withhold information to members of Congress, and especially in the Intel Committee. So you will see members inside the House Intelligence Committee to join with the senators as well. It's just purely the jurisdiction of Congress.
But again, they don't care. They don't care. That's the problem here. They don't care. If they cared, they wouldn't have done it in the first place. They're actually, the DOJ, the FBI, they're protecting the Biden crime family. You have organizations that are not supposed to be doing it. They're supposed to be straight down the middle. They're not supposed to be leaning one way or another. They're supposed to be straight down the middle. The law is the law. But they're protecting the Biden crime family. It's like, how do you, it's like, wow, is this really happening? Ow. Right? Is this really happening? Wake me up. Wake me up. Wake me up. All right. Do y'all remember me playing this one here? So this is a lady here. It is a lady. I think it is. It's a female. I'm pretty sure it's a female. Okay. I don't know. It's either male or female. I don't know. Nothing in between. But she goes on and she's talking about those 5 police officers being white supremacists and oppressive. And some of the stuff that she says in here, I want to share with you. But I'm going to share this real quick on Rumble. I'm going to end it on YouTube and Facebook. And I'm going to go over to Rumble. And I'm going to show you what she says over there. I mean, because it's pretty wild, right? It's pretty wild. I played another video that she did. And the other socialist media platforms, they really didn't like it. They had a problem with it. So for those of you that don't know how to find me on Rumble, there it is right there. You go to rumble.com/C for channel /Will Johnson. Or you can just go to Rumble and just type in Will Johnson. Or you can go to right there at the very bottom, www.uaf.media, and click on Rumble. You can see my other Facebook page, my other channels, my other platforms that I'm on by going there. Right there at the bottom. So you have two choices there. Okay, so come on over there and I'm gonna show you what this crazy lady says. But before I go, let me look real quick, see if anyone blessed me. Wayne, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Gail, Jennifer, Joe, Steve, Dave, Marcy, Jennifer, Gary, Greg, Brent, Denise, Tammy, Casey, Mary, thank you so much for the stars. Chuck, thank you so much for the Facebook stars. I really do appreciate it. And then Mandatory Carry, thank you so much for the super chat. And you are absolutely right, sir. Time is running out. You need to get ready, everybody, because it's about to hit the fan. JD, thank you so much, sir, for the super chat as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, and I do have some awesome mods. I really do. Joe. Destroy. Yeah, Search and Destroy. Thank you so much for being there. You are amazing. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really do appreciate Joe. And Search for Destroy. They're on YouTube. Mod's on YouTube. And I really appreciate Lori. She's my mod on Facebook. Can't leave Lori out. Rumble doesn't have it where I can make mods as of yet that I'm aware of. But all right. Go to Rumble. Go to Rumble. I'm going over there right now. Thank you, everyone, for the Facebook sharing and on YouTube. Thank you so much. For everyone else, I will see you over there on Rumble.